Christian authorities made a great movie, downgraded to just being a good movie, because of their insecurities and fear that the storyline that was presented by the movie, or would have been presented by the movie, was more plausible than the actual Bible itself. That their insecurities got in the way. And their insecurities made them realize that what this movie was presenting actually made more sense than their Bible in itself. So what movie to which I'm talking about? I'm talking about the movie Prometheus. I just saw this movie for the first time this week. I'm not a big fan of the Ridley Scott movies, well, some of the movies, but this one I thought was a good movie that could have been great if not for one major flaw of being fearful of the Christian authorities who made them change the script. So when I was watching this movie, I was figuring it out from the very beginning. The big giants, and they point to the stars, and these societies all over the world that had no connection with one another being able to have the same ideograms. I knew right off the bat this wasn't an invitation. This was the stories of Quetzalcoatls, stories of the Anunnaki, the stories, of the Egyptians, the Kemetic stories. This is the Oshuns, the Norse mythology. This is the Greeks. This is all those mythologies around the world of these beings coming down. And I said, okay, that's going to be the twist in the movie. So the movie goes on with them thinking that it's an invitation. They get to the planet. They figuring out that, the engineers wanted to kill everybody on Earth. Why do they want to kill everybody on Earth? What have we done? What have we done? And they finally find an engineer. And one of the engineers, when they wake him up, I'm ready for the big reveal. Here's the big twist. Gonna turn their world upside down and explain why man was created and who the engineers were and so on and so forth. Because in the beginning of the movie, an engineer sacrifices his life in order to create life on Earth. Gotta tell us what all that meant and what was behind their thought process. Nope. He just turned out to be a big, giant, evil monster, gets up and rips off the head of the android and kills people. And now he wants to go and continue his mission. That's all they tell us. And I said, whoa. This didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. Now, me being me, I went and I looked to see if there were scripts, there are rewrites, because every script has rewrites. So I looked for some of the more older scripts, the more original scripts to this movie. And it would seem that in the first or the second script, that there was a much longer conversation between the engineer and David, the android David. Which would make sense because the android David is shown that he is learning all these languages so that he can communicate with the engineers, but yet you only have a 2-sentence conversation. What was the point? So in one of the more original scripts, the engineer and David, the android, had a much longer conversation. Where when the female doctor, I forgot her name, Shaw or something like that, was asking the question, why do you want to kill us? Why do you want to kill us? Well, the engineer explains that of all the worlds that they had seeded, only Earth wound up being similar to their planet, which they call paradise. They named Earth Eden. One had to sacrifice himself in order to create life on this planet. But man, and when man first arrived, when man first developed on the planet, man lived in harmony with nature, lived in harmony with Eden. Adam in the garden story. But then, man started becoming barbaric. Man started killing one another. Cain and Abel. Man started killing one another. So the Anunnaki, sky people, the engineers came back to Earth. And they went all over the world teaching man how to live in peace, how to build cities, how to irrigate, how to build civilization. This is all the myth stories that we have around the world of the sky people coming down from the heavens. But man then still became even more barbaric and more war-torn and killing each other even more so, and became even more divided. So then they thought, let us come and take a baby from a newborn baby. Take him to paradise. Teach him the ways of their society. Teach him about love and brotherhood and so on and so forth. And then they brought him back to Eden, earth. And when they brought him back, he began to teach his message based on what he had been taught. Not Enoch, but began to teach his lessons. Man decided that they would kill him and brutalize him. And the word I believe they used was treat him like rotten fruit. They killed him and treated him like rotten fruit. And at that point, the engineers decided 2,000 years ago that they were going to destroy the population, destroy life on earth, and start over again. If the engineer and David had had that conversation, the movie would have made sense, because you don't know why the engineer got mad at Waylon when Waylon was asking him for eternal life, that how can he heal him and so on and so forth, because he was like the engineer and created. But the selfishness of Waylon is what made the engineer upset, because the engineers have to sacrifice themselves in order to create life on any planet. And Waylon showing the despicable nature of selfishness of man. And so that's why he attacked Waylon. You see what I'm saying? The movie would have made 10 times more sense. The whole final third of the movie of the engineer attacking everybody, the engineer trying to launch the ship, even after the ship is destroyed to a certain degree, well, taken out of the air, the engineer still trying to kill the professor, Shaw. All of that would have made more sense. Why is he still fighting Shaw? Why is he hell-bent on killing her? She can't get off the planet. He got a whole nother ship that he could launch, but he's like, nah, I got to kill this woman, not go and launch another ship, which would have made more sense, because you go launch the other ships, then you can go fly away, because that's what Shaw and David wind up doing. It would have made more sense of why he hated mankind so much if they would have had that dialogue. But the Christian authorities were so insecure about it, because they know that that story actually makes more sense than the story in the Bible. If you think about it, the alien seeding theory, the aliens who seeded the earth coming down and teaching mankind different things at different times of civilization, law, teaching them irrigation, teaching them civilization, and then sending people like the Buddha, Sir Dr. Gautama, the Buddha, the Dalai Lama, sending different people, your Jesus character. You got Messiah type characters all throughout history, but them teaching these lessons, Thoth, teaching people the Hermetic code, makes more sense than talking snakes, makes more sense than talking donkeys, makes more sense than leviathans, makes more sense than being swallowed by a whale for 3 days in the belly of a whale, makes more sense than people being resurrected, Lazarus being brought from the dead. It makes more sense than the Red Seas being split and the earth swallowing up whole families just because of Noah, and vipers attacking and then looking at a damn stick, and then you don't get attacked by vipers no more, or 1.3 trillion quail coming down to feed the Israelite people. It makes more sense. That would make more sense than the Bible. And I think that's the real reason the Christian authorities censored the script, so that it didn't come out the way the movie should have came out. That would have made that movie 10 times better. And I wish that they had done it that way and were brave enough to say, to hell with you, Christian authorities. If you don't like it, you just don't like it. But hey, what do you guys think? Subscribe to the channel. Always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.